Movie notes on Failure to Launch 2006 film, 30 June 2025 viewing. This is a DVD in my own DVD collection. I am Tanis, she, her, hers of Seattle, and I talked through my movie notes for my Monday, 30 June 2025 viewing of the 2006 film Failure to Launch, which is a film about a man in his 30s living at home with his retired parents and his journey through his parents calling a woman to come and try and get him to move out. So they hire somebody to get him to try and get him to move out, and he has a couple of friends who are also in their 30s, and one is classified as a bum and the other is like a guy who, like, it's revealed during the film, like, you know, paid off or bought the parents' house so they had a place to live while he lived at home. And he was kind of, it turns out he was engaged, and did the woman die, so not technically a widower because they didn't get married or something. So there were like 3 different cases. I guess I'm closest to the bum of the 3, who was played by Bradley Cooper. So something like that. I'm in my 30s and my parents are retired. It's a interesting one in the sense of, so they bring in this woman to try and get him out the door, and then the woman and he end up falling in love, that kind of thing. But it's a good one in terms of, so I moved back in with my parents in my 20s, and I'm now in my 30s, and I moved back in October, November 2019, and my parents were recently retired, each of them, and something in here that, like, kind of popped out at me in watching this was the mom saying adjusting to retirement was kind of scary for her because she didn't know if her dad, or not her dad, the main character, so the main character's a man, if the dad, so her husband, would still like her, because they were at, you know, they fell in love and had all this time together, and they both, or he was away at work, or she was away at work, or however that works, and worked, and then they're both retired, and so they see a bunch more of each other, so there's a little bit of, like, it's new and getting to know each other at that age. And so there's been a bit of, like, I've been that supporting role for my parents as they've transitioned to retirement, and I've even in living here have been like, don't forget it's new to them, and they're adjusting to life as retired people for them. That, like, sometimes I'm like, they're struggling with something and I'm like, well, maybe it's because it's been a long time or they haven't done it before, and it's like, it's their social life, but, like, it's a different emphasis now that they're retired. So I'll be like, well, maybe you're learning, right, to them, or something like that. And then, and so it was, yeah, and it was like, so if I move out and I employ my parents, pay my parents, you know, to be like news readers or something like that, or cook recipes or write, or, you know, that kind of stuff that I've brought up formally, then technically this would take it off. I couldn't repeat because they're employed, right? They're no longer retired. Oh, yeah, because so I was like, it takes it off the menu, so to speak. That fear of me repeating isn't actually a possibility because they're not retired, which were the conditions when I moved in. And so there's that, and then there's one other, the dad doesn't wear a bunch of clothing, and I'm like, does that end up being, like, even without retirement? So, like, my Lewis is away and racing at Grand Prix after Grand Prix, and then he's home, and there's all of this time together, and normally he's gone, and essentially I end up, I find him so attractive that I don't know what to do with myself, so I don't wear clothes. I end up not wearing much clothes because I find him so good looking, and all of a sudden he's around a bunch, and I'm like, does that become a fingerprint of our relationship and living together? I don't know. So it's like we're retired, but we're not, because of the, like, how much he's away and then he's home, and then we're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, he's so good looking. I just don't know what to do with myself. I'm not gonna wear any clothes. Would he be okay with that? I don't know. Anyway, those are my movie notes on Failure to Launch 2006 film, 30 June 2025 viewing.